What's up, peeps? I hope that everything is going well for you today. Just want to let you know that you always have to remember to love yourself. Don't ever look for that love in somebody else, because I promise if you learn to love yourself, then that's all the love you're ever going to need. Trust me on that one. Now, with that being said, I have some pretty disconcerting news. Not going to lie. And normally, like I said, I've given a pass to AOC a lot. I've always held her accountable. But in the beginning, when she messed up when she was very, fervent about her feelings on Israel and Palestine and how the Palestinian people were being treated. Then she was questioned in an interview and she dropped the ball on it. Oh, I'm not quite sure I don't know, okay, got it. It was like her first interview after she got elected, one of the first interviews after she got elected. And so, of course, I cut her some slack because I understand that's a lot of pressure. And you're dictating, you feel like you're dictating the outcome of a dire situation. Cool. She was silent on Ilhan Omar when Ilhan Omar was getting dragged through the dirt by the Democrats and the Republicans. And then she chimed in only to take advantage of the fact that Trump had said something about Ilhan. And of course, Trump has no room to talk about anybody on any conflict, as much as he plays victim and as much as he's absolutely 100% wrong on most of these issues. She jumped at the chance to take advantage of that she could act the president, but wouldn't defend Ilhan Omar when there was no popularity to be gained from it. And this is a pattern that I was starting to see take place on basically every divisive or controversial issue, including Syria, which she was silent on, backing Nancy Pelosi, loudly doing so, right? Even after Nancy Pelosi has been trashing her. And it's getting, this is it. This is the final straw. Now there's no more games. There's no more, okay, well, she's trying. No, you've been a congresswoman long enough at this point, and you are very well educated. And you have people like Ilhan around you where you could get more education on these issues. But it seems to me like you're choosing at this point to do the opposite. I want you to take a look at this quote from Ilhan Omar that was it was placed in an article called The Left Voice. This isn't my quote. This isn't some type of paraphrasing. These are her words. I defer to caucus leadership on how we navigate this. That was how Ocasio-Cortez, U.S. Representative for New York's 14th District, responded to a question by the National Review about how she views the U.S. orchestrated coup attempt in Venezuela. So for those of you wondering why she had been silent on Twitter, for those of you wondering about her opinion on the situation, wondering why she hasn't been more vocal, it's because once again, she is deferring. Now, I can only speak for myself here. I think when it came to certain issues that involve American politics, right, I'm a little bit more understanding and I'm a little bit more forgiving because, well, the truth of the matter is America and Americans in general we've gone kind of used to navigating American politics, right? If we don't like the way our federal government is being ran, then we do have the ability to change our local governments. And so we can still uphold a piece of our democracy that directly affects us and how we live. But when it comes to foreign policy, I'm a lot less forgiving. I am. Why? For the same reason that I always say. I don't have to worry about another country coming into my country and dropping bombs on my house, overthrowing my government, and destroying my livelihood. And for her to be a Latina, for her to understand what Puerto Rico is still dealing with as far as because basically what we're doing we've colonized Puerto Rico, right? We've colonized Puerto Rico. So she does have an understanding about what's happening. For her to understand how colorism is used in Latin politics, which I know she does. And for her to know exactly what's happening in Venezuela. Basically, do you know what she just said? She's aligning herself with John Bolton. She's aligning herself with Pompeo. And she's aligning herself with Donald fucking Trump, people. Because guess what the caucus leadership is deferring to? John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, and Donald Trump. Oh, so basically when Donald Trump gets on Twitter and starts complaining about something stupid as if he always does, you can @ him on Twitter to get you a few more retweets, a few more likes, and a few more follows. But when Trump's comments, when Trump's advocacy is mirroring the advocacy of war criminals trying to take down a regime for oil, Miss Green New Deal, for oil, I'm going to defer to the caucus leadership. No. Hell no. Hell no. You don't get to do that. The whole point of you not taking big money in politics is so that you, when times like this arise, you are supposed to rise above it. You are supposed to stand on top of it all and say, this is wrong, you all are wrong, you all are wrong, damn all that. You are the one supposed to be standing up to the Democrats, and instead, you're doing whatever the hell they tell you to while they simultaneously smear you. It's embarrassing. You don't get to defer to the House leadership, to the caucus leadership when lives are at stake, AOC. Now, after you pretended to be this, oh, I'm an outsider, I'm anti-establishment. I'm sure your heart is in the right place, but to be quite honest, it is pretty verifiable at this point that your ego has superseded whatever your heart's desires may be to save the world. Because trust me, AOC, in my younger years, I've been there. I've been propped up just like you. I had the glimmer in my eyes. Oh, maybe one day I'll be president. Look at how everybody loves me. Look at all the adoration I'm receiving. But I will tell you, the more you focus on the goals of wanting to be the first or the youngest person to speak in front of the House or to preside over a House meeting, the more you have no desires to be the youngest Congresswoman ever, then maybe one day be the youngest president ever, then one day be the first woman ever to be the president of the United States. Guess what? The more you will sacrifice your integrity. You're stomping around the country right now for the Green New Deal, knowing damn well there's an off act about to be reintroduced that, let's be quite honest, you didn't talk about it after you got elected. You talked about it when you're running for office. Isn't that interesting? But you didn't talk about it after you got elected. You've been trying to pretend like Elizabeth Warren is somehow more progressive than Tulsi fucking Gabbard. Are you out of your damn mind? She's openly telling you she's going to take money in the general election, and you're quicker to defend and mention Warren before you will mention Tulsi Gabbard. Come on. You haven't said shit about the OFF Act. You haven't said a damn thing about the Security America's Elections Act, but then want to fearmonger when you're in front of your little friends about Russians. That Wall Street, that whole, oh yeah, we're going to cap interest rate at 15%. Oh, that's cute. That's all good. But I don't have to have a loan. I don't have to have a credit card. It'd be nice sometimes. Americans don't necessarily need to have a credit card. And this is something that we know for a fact in this House, or I should say in this legislature. The House may pass it, but Trump is vetoing because we know where his allegiances lie. So all that shit that you're doing sounds cute. It really does. But I would prefer you focusing your energy and effort on making sure more people overseas don't have their governments taken down and, I don't know, perhaps fucking sold into slavery like in Libya. I don't know. Maybe that's an extreme example, but is it really that extreme of an example? ISIS came after Iraq. Al-Qaeda strengthened after Afghanistan. Now they're both in Syria. We overthrew Gaddafi, their slavery. What do you think might happen if, I don't know, Maduro's taken down and the whole Chavez, what we'll call the Chavez dynasty at this point, the Chavez dynasty that was an elected one, is completely overthrown with the largest oil reserves in the world? You think that they're going to let anybody control that? No. I don't think you understand how this works. When they installed Guaido was out next. Understand that. It's more than trying to take over control of their government. It is about completely and utterly destabilizing their entire country. And you say you're going to defer to the Democratic caucus leaders? Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? Who are you? This is who people elected? This is the Justice Democrats, the ones who are supposed to stand up to the establishment. Well, you and Ro Khanna are doing a damn good job of that, clearly. Ro Khanna kissing Rachel Maddow's ass every chance he gets. And you're silent on Syria. You're silent on Venezuela. You want to pretend like impeachment is the answer? Impeachment does us no good if Pence is in office. And you won't stand up to Trump. So, you think somebody who's well-connected, who's much more well-connected to the establishment, you're going to stand up to him? I doubt it. I seriously do. You won't get popular off of adding Pence on Twitter. Like, it's not happening. You know this is a fool's errand, but you want to, once again, like everything else you've been pushing recently, you're not getting anything done. Let's be very honest about that. And you know it. Trust me, I know how politics works too, AOC. I've been there. I know when people are doing things for name's sake and people have a greater goal in mind. A lot of the things that Bernie Sanders was doing was so he could run for office. But guess what? Bernie actually had put in the work and got things done. He was known as the Amendment King. So when he introduces legislation in the last 2 to 3 years that he knew it was a long shot for it to get passed, I gave him a pass because I knew that this legislation that he is creating would be probably the legislation that he uses or introduces while he's the president of the United States of America, and he's taken back the House and the Senate. What you're doing, you're also doing the same thing. I know what happens when you're constantly trying to stay in the spotlight, AOC. You're constantly trying to stay in the spotlight because you're constantly trying to be a regular part of the conversation. You're constantly trying to be a regular part of the conversation because you see the Oval Office in your sights and you need to stop and focus on the here and now. Use your mandate to save lives because your legislation is only going to get so far while there are no other progressives. You walk around Bernie's coattails. Bernie isn't going to be in office for much longer. Like, this is a fact. Whether he becomes a president or whether he retires, the chickens are going to come home to roost. And the most popular politician in the House and in the Senate at this point, is it going to be you? It's going to be the woman running for president right now. And you basically told her to kiss your ass on every single issue. You want to pass shit. But last time I checked, when have you said a damn word about the Securing America's Elections Act? You haven't said anything about that. Like you haven't said anything about the OFF Act. But 15% credit caps. Damn that. Can we have good elections? Because guess what? If we can put progressives in office, then we can pass things like capping interest rates at 15%. But we can also make sure we don't do things like, I don't know, invade Venezuela. Like, is that cool? When have you mentioned anything about this this attempt to remove people from the Venezuelan embassy and violate international law? Why the hell would you defer to the same leadership that has already established a pattern of violating international law? What the hell? Come on. You got to do better than this. This is not what the people voted for. I don't have to, and if you want to, oh man, well, she's an outlaw, but she's like, no. Hell no. There's no more time for coddling. Like I said, whenever we're talking about domestic policies, a lot of which we can affect ourselves via direct democracy with our municipalities, with our state and local or state legislatures and things like that, that's a different discussion. I'm not going to hold her accountable for something that happens in Florida. Well, I will, but not to the degree that I would hold her accountable for something that happens in Venezuela or in Syria, where people kind of wake up in the middle of the night like, damn, I hope a bomb didn't drop on my house while I was asleep. No, you don't get passes for that anymore. No. Hell no. Don't make excuses, or blood is on your hands as well. Period, point blank. Kiss my ass if you feel otherwise. That's exactly how I feel about it. I don't care. This is not a popularity contest. Lives are at stake. Act like it. Thanks for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Roku TV, and on JustNForm.com. Also, you can make sure that you're subscribed to the channel by going to the subscribe button, pressing it, and hitting that notification bell to get all of our notifications. And of course, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon by supporting the show by donating as little as $1. You can click on the link in the description below for that. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.